When I was at Google, we built a product called Google Checkout. And what Google Checkout did was allow you as a searcher to give your credit that was funny. To give your credit card number and your shipping address to Google, because you probably trust Google to protect your information. We came up with that idea because we talked to and monitored a lot of smaller businesses and their ability to sell. And what you would find is searchers went online to find about a camera, say. They went online to do this camera search, and they would find a small specialist site on cameras, and they would read the reviews, and they would look around, and they might even add a camera item to their shopping cart. And then they would bail out and go buy it from Amazon. And if you think about that, that's a horrible place for the small retailer to be, because they've done all the work. They did all the work at the lead, they did all the work to talk to the lead, they did all the content manipulation, and they then didn't actually get the revenue. The revenue went to someone else. And we tried to figure out why people did that. And people did that largely for two reasons. One, they didn't want to have to fill out another form. My shipping address is still the same. And second, they didn't necessarily want to give their credit card to an organization they didn't know. And so we built Checkout to address both those two things. Before that time, small merchants experienced somewhere between 50 and 70% cart drop. So something is in the cart, and then 2 out of 3 times roughly, someone abandons that cart. For merchants who became Google Checkout merchants, that dropped by 50%. So this massive improvement in sales by leveraging something else. I think that's the lesson of online commerce, the fact that we can all use little bits of skills and abilities from related companies to win, which is, again, what all of us want. Now, that makes a lot of sense. The notion that we can all work together to yield additional economic outputs is a well-understood economic force for a very long time. It's the reason the Japanese created kairetsus. The notion that people can work together and generate additional revenue is also, you can look at the original Adam Smith arguments. By focusing on what we're good at, we generate excess economic rent. It's just easier to do that online. And Chris's core point, right, exactly right. Chris's core point is that it's much simpler to do online because you don't have to build special stores. You don't necessarily have to ship huge physical goods around, which is expensive and burns carbon fuels, et cetera. Instead, you can do a very, very lightweight interaction, which produces ad exchanges, which produces AdSense, the Google publishing model to provide revenue to publishers. You can create low friction ways to have organizations work together and create excess economic rent. It's a really great side effect of the fact that this is an information exchange. It's not necessarily making machine tools or machine parts. But if you look at what Google did while I was still there, we launched Gmail and everyone said, why is Google launching a mail product? And the answer is, we had built infrastructure that we thought could provide a lot of value to mail users, and it did end up changing the game. We had a very large amount of storage space, which caused all the other mail services to increase storage space. We did serve ads against it, but we didn't serve ads against you. We didn't know who you were. And those ads actually turned out to be valuable. People valued those ads. If you and I were having an email exchange about cameras, it actually would be useful for you to show me an ad that would get me to a camera video. Those ads actually added value. We entered the docs and spreadsheets, Google Docs, because search is a really critical part of document creation. So for example, when you guys have notes from this interview, one thing you could do is key them all into a text file and email them around, and say, well, I don't think Douglas said this, I think Douglas said that, I'm not sure. In this case, you can look at the tape, but if we weren't videotaping this, your notes would be all we had. And in that case, having an online document which allows each of you to work together and allows you to search for, what did Douglas say about online documents? Search is a critical part of document creation. So we went into document creation because search matters and we're good at search. Generally speaking, that's the tie. Where we believe that search is a key element of a product and where we believe that search can add value to our users, our searchers, then we would enter that space. Again, I don't know anything about the products in the lead gen space, but that describes why do we do Gmail, why do we do docs and spreadsheets, et cetera. There are always businesses that can exist in ecosystems, and almost everyone has the ability to find and exploit such a niche. Let me give you an example. We did work in sub-Saharan Africa, specifically in this case in South Africa, where we went to the townships and we gave people internet-enabled phones to do with what they will. It was almost always women who took them, and what they did is they built minute sharing, minute reselling businesses. So they would go and they would say, you can use my phone to do searches or email, whatever, for a couple of minutes, and you'll pay me a little bit. there were these big long queues. People would stand in line for a long time just to get access to that phone. And what they did was very interesting. So the woman who owns the phone, again with almost women, made a little bit of money off of doing this and added a lot of value to her clients. If you looked at the women who were doing searches on that phone, the modal search was for how does the AIDS virus get transmitted? So this is an incredibly high value piece of information to a populace that doesn't have access to good information. So that's a case where you've added tremendous value to people's lives. And you've done it in a way which produces a small amount of revenue for yourself. What a great business niche. And there have to be hundreds or thousands of those. I obviously don't know them all, because I'm not a woman in a township in South Africa. But the great thing about the internet, the great thing about the increasing drop in technology costs, is the democratization of information. Everyone can tell their story. And by telling their story, they can find little niches to make some money for themselves. That's a terrific outcome. The easiest way to make money on the internet is to do something you love and find a way to monetize it. So a common thing, for example, is write a blog. So my mother writes a set of information that she cares about. In her case, it happens to be about a set of not-for-profit. She writes a blog and has ads next to it. So she doesn't make millions of dollars, but she makes a little bit of money, enough to make it worth her time to keep writing. If you want to make a little bit of money on the net, find something you love and find a simple way to monetize it. Ads often works, right? Ads of different kinds. Affiliate networks often work. But the most important thing is to do something you think you can do uniquely well and you value.